It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And naturally on a Tuesday, we need to discuss matters of the heart. And every Tuesday, we present a relationship dilemma in need of help. And today's one reads as follows. So, hi, I'm an 18-year-old woman who recently got close with a group of male friends. There's one guy, 18 years old in particular, who really interests me. He's cute, honest, and seems like a great potential partner. We get along well, but aren't super close. I'm wondering how to explore a romantic relationship without being pushy or risking our friendship. I'd appreciate advice from both guys and girls on how to navigate this and approach him without making things awkward. Thanks for any insights. Now, joining us, we got the perfect individual to weigh in on this conversation and to give her professional advice is a psychologist, Dr. Angelique Nespola, just to give us a little idea as to where this should go. Dr. Angelique Nespola, what an honor. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
So we've heard this all too often. I
Yes.
mean, this sounds like high school all over again.
Trip down memory lane.
For so many. But just let's look at this in terms of someone's intention to like somebody, like their attributes, know it's in a friendly scenario, and now wanting to bridge that sort of gap
Yeah.
without risking a friendship. I think that's a big thing for many
Yes.
people, right? So let's, on the outset over here, what are you thinking is this particular individual's options over here?
And I absolutely love this conscious approach.
Yeah.
You know, being mindful of how we're going to navigate a relationship, how we're going to navigate a friendship.
Yes.
Just thinking about it,
Yeah,
moving mindfully through a situation. So I think it is important to
Yes.
gauge a mutual interest. I think that is really important not to make an assumption. Because we
Okay.
often do, myself included, we make assumptions.
Yeah.
And it's easy to do that, to assume that, okay, these gestures are only friendship.
Yes.
Or to assume that they're not, they're not interested, or that they are interested, to misread the situation. So I think it is important to gauge. I think I'd like to highlight that.
Okay. So engage, you said mutual. But you never know, do you?
You don't.
You don't know, because the
Yes.
thing is, some people are naturally friendly and they're giving you attention. They're reciprocating in certain expressive communication patterns, and suddenly they're
Yeah.
like, oh, my word, this person is totally interested in me.
Yes, we might misread.
So, I mean, how do you even begin to understand what is this person likes me versus they're just friendly?
Yes.
That's a very, very gray area.
It is, absolutely. And we might misinterpret. So I think it can be a gentle approach. It doesn't need to start with a big deal.
Oh, yes.
It could be just spending more time together,
Okay.
engaging in things that you both enjoy, mutual interests, getting a sense for the friendship, paying attention to those little signs, right? It doesn't need to
Interesting, yes.
start with a big discussion. We can
Yeah.
get there, but I think gently easing into it,
It makes
spending
sense.
time, connecting.
I suppose in this particular regard, given the situation, it's about actually finding out when does that moment happen when you think about saying what you want to say.
Yeah.
Like, I like you, but I like you more than friends.
Yes.
Like, that's a big thing for many people, because there's always that barrier there. And you can express in certain ways. I know that a lot of people, to make themselves a bit more secure in their behaviors towards someone, to not expose their vulnerability, they often mimic behaviors toward other people in front of them, so that person feels like it's a normal thing, so that you don't expose yourself and your vulnerability.
Yes.
However, now let's look at the communication styles we can use to have a DMC around taking this way beyond. I mean, we had a lovely coffee the other day, but like, how do we get to that conversation where we can say,
Right.
but hey, you know what, I like you,
Yeah.
right?
And I think firstly, we need to move away from the group setting, because there's a group of friends involved
True.
here, right? And we want to maintain that, we want to preserve that. But having this conversation at the right time, at the right place, quiet, just where they can engage in a respectful, honest conversation is really important. And then I think highlighting, because I can hear in that scenario, the friendship is really important, and preserving that is really important. So highlighting that in this discussion, something like, I enjoy spending time with you, I have thought about our relationship, and I think we could be more than friends, but our friendship is really important. What do you think? So really highlighting the friendship and how important that is stands out to me here, because that's a need within this scenario for this person.
I think that's where the fear comes in. The fear comes in with, you know, I might act differently knowing that you like me. You said you value our friendship. I value it too. But now, how does this change me tomorrow morning when I kind of know you like me more?
Yes.
You didn't want to lose the friendship, but you've now articulated the fact that you felt something for me. I just feel like that's where the real vulnerable moment is.
So vulnerable.
Is setting your open mind to this person may have a boundary to this relationship that ends at friendship. But also, if I don't try this, how do I know if I can actually go beyond the boundary, because this person could be harboring feelings too.
Yes.
So there's that polarity there that makes it very insecure. So to this person, are you telling that person just be bold and be brave and go for it, even at the risk of the friendship, so that they get what their heart wants? Or are we saying create the friendliest environment possible and then try move over from there?
I think there's no right or wrong answer,
You see, that's
because
it.
either way, it's vulnerable, like you
Yes.
said. Both situations are vulnerable. And the thing is, we can try and predict what's going to happen, but we're human. The person, the friend on the receiving end,
Yes.
hasn't had time to process this like she has.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So you're being caught off guard, whereas the other person has had time to process, to think. So to keep that in mind, to prepare for all sorts of responses. Because it could be a response of, oh my word, thank you, I've been thinking the same thing, I didn't know how to voice it, or
First
I'm
prize.
first prize,
That's first
then
prize.
like we're winning.
Yes, yes.
Or it could be, you know, I didn't think about this, it hasn't crossed my mind, I need time to think, we need to respect that boundary. You spoke about
Yes,
boundaries.
boundaries are important.
So it could go any way. I mean, it depends on the dynamic, it depends on so many factors. So I think I would say prepare for all sorts of responses, because that's fair. The person is being caught off guard.
Yeah, well, that's very true.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking something and you want to act on it, I feel like as the initiator of that conversation, you have an intention. You know your intention is pure. You know you like this person, so go for it. So I think, in short, if this person were to broach this conversation, just to kind of scan over the pillars of it, be open to all responses. Know that this person may be a little blindsided by this change in feelings. Also, make sure that, that friendship moment as well, just to nurture that after a conversation like that is quite tough. So as a last point on this, how does that person now chat to that individual and say, I don't want this to be awkward between us. If you don't feel the same, it doesn't mean that I don't want to be your friend. I'm just saying, so what type of communication would be apt in that particular regard to say, I want to retain the friendship?
I think acknowledging that things might be a little bit different at first, but talking about it.
Yes.
Not just trying to skirt over it, put it under the rug. Acknowledging it. Saying, okay, things might be different, you know, didn't go the way I expected or I hoped, but the friendship is valuable. And communicating around that, checking in and discussing how you're going to move forward. It's okay if it's a little bit awkward. It will be.
Yes,
it's fine.
it will.
You'll move through it. It's a natural progression from here. So I think accepting it might be different, talking about it with the person is really, really important there.
Thank you for saying that, because I think people think that they've lost the friendship completely when there's that awkwardness. But you have to see it through.
Yeah.
You have to.
It's part of the process.
It is.
Lean into it a little bit.
That is very comforting. I'm so glad that you said that, and I hope that inspired you as well. I mean, if you have some feelings for somebody, I think it is great of you to be open and honest with them. I feel like that's loving somebody, to be fair. So this is an incredible conversation. Lots more permutations around that. If you'd like to send a WhatsApp and ask the doctor anything, please feel free. 063-408-8863. We'll be willing to answer a little bit later. But for now, Zanele, what's coming up on your Feel Good Breakfast Show?
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back. We missed you, and now you're back here, ready? Because the thing is, before the break on your Feel Good Breakfast Show, we introduced our relationship dilemma of the day. And, it is basically somebody who wanted to get out of the friend zone, so to speak, met somebody through a group setting. And just that's a little recap for you on your screen now. But just to give you the gist, it's essentially, what does the person do if they want to broach the topic of saying to one person in that group that they want to do something a bit more? then just be friends, and that's okay. So joining us is our psychologist, Dr. Angelique Nespola, who's going to give us a bit more about your comments coming through on social media. But Zanele, I'm not sure if you've been in this situation, but I want to hear what you think this individual should do if they need to broach this topic of going past the friend zone. I know it's a big one, but I know you can handle it.
Oh, okay, Carl. Look, I'm going to put my Dr. Love hat on.
Yes.
And I think I might have come up with a little bit of a solution there. Carl, are you listening properly?
Of
you
course.
and Doctor. So, thank you. This is what I think, right? I definitely understand where Anonymous is coming from because, yes, I've been in that situation before where you look at a friend and you're like, oh my goodness, maybe I can see you as more than just a friend. But one thing I want to say is I definitely believe that, yes, Anonymous should explore these feelings, but with a little bit of caution. So this is why I'm like, maybe you also need to take into account the fact that sometimes people are a little bit different when they're in a group setting, because that's what I'm understanding from what Anonymous said, rather. And this is why I'm like, okay, what I think Anonymous should do is try and get some time alone with this person, whether it's like, okay, let's go see a movie, or maybe they have something that they both have in common that they really like. Go and do that together and kind of just get them away from the group and come to understand them as the person when they're on their own. Because I feel like that's going to open them up a little bit more and maybe allow Anonymous to know whether or not there really is a connection there, and also, you know, if this really is a viable partner for them. So that's my attempt at being Dr. Love. How did I do, guys? How did I do?
Zanele, you did so well. In fact, you echoed a lot of what Doctor said. Angelique actually did say the fact that, you know, get the setting, take it away from the group setting.
Yes.
You mentioned that. And Zanele, you hit it on the head. So that's the thing. That's why I don't understand why you have so many friends, Zanele.
Carl, why are you coming for me? But and I have a lot of them, yes, Carl. But you know what, Carl? We'll discuss this. Please, please,
Yes,
please. It's about
later.
Anonymous now.
It's another show that we have afterwards. It's our late night show with Zanele and Carl discussing how to remove yourself from the friend zone.
Can I come too?
Of course you can. That's it. So, Zanele,
Yes,
thank you so much for
we
weighing
need
in. I
another
appreciate
Doctor
that.
of Love.
My word. Yes, so, you know, back to the actual scenario. I think it's
Yes.
great. She definitely echoed what you said.
Absolutely. Spending time together, mutual interests are important, getting to know each other one-on-one, you know, and doing things you both enjoy.
Yes.
So if one of you is an avid hiker and the other one isn't, we're not going to go for hiking, right? We're going to find common ground. We're going to find
Correct.
something that you both enjoy to connect, right? Making space
like
for
that.
connection.
And I'm glad you said the expressive communication is actually saying taking it out of the group setting alone kind of gives you a hint. Not to say that you have this, you know, subliminal information that you deliver to somebody. You have to be direct, but I think it's also a good start. A couple of comments came through about the scenario. Let's take a look at a few of them and just analyze accordingly. So a few comments. The first one is from Lutano saying, remember, relationship and friends are totally two different things. The best advice is to keep your friendship than pursuing relationship. There's always a darker side. You don't know when it comes to relationships. Focus on being friends. Oh, Lutando, you know, just to comment on that, sometimes the heart wants what it wants, and sometimes it's your friend. And that's where I think it gets complicated. Doctor, if you want to weigh in that, I mean, do you just go cold and just say, you know what, relationships don't work. Maybe I come from a divorced household, so I'm going to be friends with everybody.
I think the part I can connect to from what Lutando said is there is an aspect of risk. You know, we spoke about that vulnerability. It could go either way.
True.
It really could. So there is risk here, and to be comfortable with that if you do decide to approach this topic.
Yeah.
If you go for what the heart wants, you know.
Yeah. I'm actually a big fan of going for what the heart wants. I'm not going to lie. I know that, yes, you're going to risk this friendship, but at the same time, I believe that, do you want to live in regret with a good friend? Or do you want to try something and maybe just, you know, fly with somebody who is so close to you and so, you know, could be your love of your life?
Yeah. And I think especially taking into account that this person is thinking about it.
Yeah.
They're moving through this very consciously.
Yeah.
It's not a rash decision.
Yes.
And I think that will go a long way, you know, in protecting the friendship.
Exactly.
Like we said, it might be awkward, but the friendship hopefully can withstand that.
And that's if it's a good friendship, like, let's be honest. So let's take a quick peek at another comment. And this one came through. Rena Juana is saying this: get to know him first. Let him know you too. Give him space to know you. Don't rush. He might not be what you're looking for. Trust me. Ooh. You did mention that slower approach.
Yes.
That's a more strategic approach to the scenario.
it
Are you
is.
agreeing with Renegwane there?
I think I do. I think I align with that. Take your time, gentle. It doesn't need to be a rushed process.
Yes.
The conversation doesn't need to be rushed. I think this person knows.
Yeah. Been in a
First-hand
situation.
experience, maybe.
You can tell. But I mean, we live in an age of instant gratification. We always want immediate answers, immediate
Yes, we
responses.
don't like
and
discomfort.
I think when it comes to the matters of the heart and friendship, let's slow it down for a second and make a good decision. Another little comment coming up for you as well, which is another one that came through. We got to Juan a little earlier. This is Andrea Himan saying, if the guy was interested in you, he would have made it clear. Because one thing about men, when they like someone, they will make it known. It's clear that the guy sees you as a friend. I don't particularly agree with that. I as a guy. Do you know that sometimes we are scared to say something?
Yes.
We are scared to be vulnerable. We are scared to get rejected because
Absolutely.
when you grow up as a male in a lot of traditional societal contexts,
Yeah.
it's terrible being rejected from a sports team, from your parents,
Yes.
from your friends. So the worst thing you can do is avoid that emotive stimulus,
Yeah.
and you just don't say anything at all just to avoid being hurt.
Yes.
So don't forget that we are sometimes also locked inside.
And might even overcompensate, try and avoid the person to avoid this vulnerability, this
Yes.
risk. And rejection is a big one. I'm
It is
glad you
huge.
highlighted that. Yeah.
And I think sometimes somebody with direct expressive communication could be unlocking you and unlocking your heart. Or you can say, oh my word, this person has had the honesty to tell me how they feel about me. This is a really great friend. And I can
Yeah.
tell you, like, the best love stories, they do start with a good friend.
They always do.
Right?
Yeah. A lot of relationships that, withstand the test of time
Yeah.
come from a foundation of friendship.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
I love this. I honestly do. Wowza, doctor, that is all we have time for, unfortunately. We need to have a full-on conversation about this. It's another full show. Remember the late night show with Zanele and Carl?
Yeah, we'll be back.
We have to do that. It's going to be important. But thank you so much to Dr. Angela Ignaspala for giving us a bit more about getting out of the friend zone.